Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. Tonight we have just literally had, just before we're about to go live, some breaking news on Matheus Cunha, which is really interesting, and we've also had some kind of updates on Liam Delap. We want to speak about the Wolves game because we've not had a chance to really sink our teeth into that, whatever you've made of it. There's some stuff around Osimhen, which I think is really interesting, sourcing from Turkey, and other little bits on a couple of young players that Ineos want to bring in as well. But the most pushing news object at the minute, Shreyas, Jesus Christ, tell I've not been on for a while, can't you? My God, it's been a day and a half off, and I'm already calling you the wrong name. What the hell? On Cunha, sorry, a load of news around Matheus Cunha at the minute. Just before I get into the news and the actual line that's coming out from Simon Jones in the Mail Sport, thoughts on him as a player, Civir?
I think it's ideal for what we need. Wolves playing the 3-5-2, I believe.
It's very similar, wasn't it?
Very similar, yeah. And I was actually thinking about this morning, but the kind of players we need, especially for the forward tens, which I think he would play. I think he fits that profile because you need a versatile player. So you need someone who's very good at playing as a winger, but can also play as a 10, who's adept at one-on-one situations, who can play in tight spaces, all that kind of stuff. He's got it. The only thing with Cunha for me is just that 62 million. It's a lot.
In today's market, do you think that's a lot?
Today's market, and then just based on what we have to go by. If we're going to sell players, then maybe we can afford him, but it's a lot of money. But I think for him, it's worth the risk because he's a Premier League player. I hate saying that Premier League proven thing. I've always hated it. But then he steps in. There's no acclimatizing period. There's no, he's just coming from a different league.
Yeah.
Now he knows what to do. And the most important thing as well is intensity. He has that intensity that we need in that role. So I think it'd be perfect. I'm inclined to believe that the links that we have with him, before this news, because I haven't heard about what you've just heard now. But then prior to that, I think there was some truth to the links. So if it does happen, I'll be really pleased. I'll be really happy.
Yeah, so the actual news coming out from Mail Sport and Simon Jones, there's a couple of other people who are kind of jumping on this now as well. And saying that basically United are inching closer to an agreement with Matheus Cunha, with United hopeful of having terms in place by next month. Cunha looks to have been swayed by the prospect of playing a pivotal role in Ruben Amorim's system, is the news that's being reported, which I think, one thing I think instantly, because one, Liam Delap, Laurie Whitwell's pushing a Liam Delap story as well, coinciding with that at the same time. And of them two players, when I look at them both, the first word that comes into my head is just strength or power with both of them. And I think that is, Amorim is craving that in those kind of areas. Because if you look at our players a lot of the times, the Christian Eriksen's, the Lindelofs, they get bullied a lot in the Premier League. I think Newcastle, probably the perfect example of that. When you look how robust and how resilient their midfielders, like Joe Linton, Guimaraes, and Tonali, and then the big centre backs, the Premier League nowadays it's almost going in that direction back to how it was. The Mourinho of 05, of your Drogba's, your SENs, and these kind of players. I'm not saying every team has to have a full 11 of them, but I'm just saying it's almost asking for both now, a blend of really good technical ability and really good strength and speed, and you almost have to have everything. Yeah. I think Cunha really fits into that mold for me, and we've witnessed it both times against United. He's been incredible, hasn't he, for the majority of the times?
Yeah, didn't he score against us when he played for Atletico as well?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
I remember him from there, yeah. But either way, we know what he can do. As far as the Delap thing, I really like Delap. I like him, but I don't know if it might be this similar situation. But I don't know if you can play that striker position with the way we play, because it's a similar thing with Rasmus Højlund. I don't think Højlund is a terrible player. I think he just doesn't fit the system. He could go somewhere else and absolutely tear it up. He might go to Leicester and score 15 goals or something. But then in this system, so I don't know. And I haven't seen the reports from Laurie Whitwell about Delap. But either way, can't really complain.
Yeah, so the reports about Liam Delap is on the latest Talk of the Devils podcast, which has just dropped recently. And Laurie's on that talking about that he is the number one target for United. So United are probably looking at Cunha and Liam Delap as because that's going to cost, Liam Delap's release clause is £30 million. So that's going to cost you just outright $90 million for a Premier League striker who's just scored 12 goals in 31 games. And you've got Cunha who's got 25 goal involvements or 20, I think something like that. 10 assists and 14 goals, which is really, really good. And I think the Prem proven thing gets chucked about quite a lot, doesn't it? People are just because the Prem proven. This league is very unique. It's very, very different to everywhere else, your Spanish leagues and Italian leagues. You need a certain profile, you need a certain mentality to be successful in it. Because how many players have you seen come over who've been so talented from Serie A or wherever it's been, and they've just flopped, just completely struggled? I remember Scamacca, for example. Let's say Scamacca was at was it Atalanta? Where was he at? Scamacca. Can't remember what club he was at in Italy. But he bagged 30 goals, I think it was, in 20. Something outrageous. He comes to West Ham. Nothing. All that hype around Fulkrug goes to West Ham. Nothing. So it just goes to show that the Prem is just a completely different beast, isn't it? So is there anything wrong with getting Prem proven?
No, I don't think so. It's just, for me, it was, I used to be this kind of, I always used to think that if you're good enough, you're good enough. It doesn't really matter where you play. This is how I always used to think. But then in some situations, I think it's really important when you have players who've played here, because they can cope with the intensity of the game, they can cope with the pace of the game, because it's a lot quicker here. There's so much more pressure here. You find yourself in a lot more pressure situations than you would, say, in Germany or Portugal or something. So it does make sense now. And I mean, as the Premier progresses, I think it's more of a big thing where you have Prem players, players who can play here, who understand the intensity. I've used that word too many times, but I'm just using it for emphasis, so people to understand the kind of point I'm making. Because if you look at, I don't know, so for example, Declan Rice to Arsenal sort of thing, there was no bedding in period. You get in there and you just get on with it sort of thing. It's not you have to get Sandro Tonali. He didn't immediately take off at Newcastle. There was a bedding period for him to kind of get acclimatized to it, and then, right now we can see him play. So, and especially with the role that we have, that Cunha might be playing if he comes in. I mean, we just need someone to hit the ground running.
I think you can only look to what we're doing in Europe. Let's say for a minute, we're unbeaten in Europe in comparison to what we're doing in the Premier League, in how different the intensity and how long you have on the ball, and how in the Prem you get pressed the life out from any team. Just you only get seconds to deal with it. So having someone coming in who's used to that intensity and pace isn't a bad thing. I actually think he would come in and it looks such an instant game changer for us, because not only is he strong, powerful, and quick, but I think you mentioned before that the ability in 1v1 situation is such a maverick as well, where he can skin. At Old Trafford, he did it. He ran past Mainu, ran past Eric, whoever else it was as well, just like there was nothing, just pushed him off. That's something we really need.
Yeah, and that's what we're lacking in, because Garnacho is not, unless he's running onto the ball, Garnacho can't do the 1v1 situation. It's really, really difficult for him to do that.
Yeah.
But then you have a player like Cunha who can do that, and he has the option. Cunha isn't always going for the goal. He's also looking to bring players in and all that kind of stuff. Just one more thing about the Prem proven thing was, when I was really adamant about it was before we bought Maguire. Everyone was going on about him because it was our Prem proven. And I really like Ruben Diaz. I really, really did like him. City bought him, and then he came in and took off, and then we got the Prem proven, and he wasn't. So this situation
it
where
can go, of course.
It can go both ways.
Yeah, I get that. Do you not think there would be more kind of competition for Cunha? Because you look at the player that he is, and look how many clubs are going to be circling and sharking in the market in summer. I would have thought, I know it's not by any stretch of imagination at the moment that it's a done deal, but do you not think it would take a bit more push and pull with Arsenal in the market and all these clubs, especially where we are in the league as well?
Yeah, you would expect that, but different clubs, I think the clubs are just in different situations and all that. With Chelsea, they've probably got quite a few players that they have on the books already.
Mm.
Arsenal, I don't know what's going on, but I know he was linked with them at some point. But yeah, the less clubs interested, the better, honestly. Like, I'm actually quite relieved that there's no one else there to kind of, like sway his position. Because if we're going to get this agreement done now is the best time. It's better to do it now.
Yeah.
When we're still in the Europa League.
Proactive rather than reactive.
Yeah, exactly. So if we get knocked out of the Europa League and come 17th, he's already, the agreement is there already. So, we just switch up all our cell phones and he's going to try and call and cancel it. And then,
yeah. That's what would worry me.
Yeah, just do it now. Do it now while you can, while there's still something to sell. Because if we come out, we can't sell Champions League to him. So, yeah.
Yeah, agreed. Right, let's go to the comment section and see what you lovely human beings are saying. Andy Williams, Prem proven, get it done. He's perfect, can play in the 9 as well. Where is the money coming from? Well, 60 million, you would think, going into the summer, their budget, considering we're probably going to finish around 15th, it's going to depend in it on solely European football. If you get European football, the money goes up by another 50 to 100 million pound. But also, I think they've got 60 million to spend on that area. Like, I know the same with Skin and those kind of things, but even with the outgoings, like, it looks like Anthony's probably going to go to Real Betis. That looks pretty nailed on. I'd be surprised if he didn't. I mean, Rashford's doing well at Villa. They look like they're going to push for Champions League football, which would be massive for us as well. So he could go. And then the budget on top of that. So I don't see it being a problem personally. It's just when you start getting to the other areas when you might.
I think I think the issue there is just because we need quite a few new players to come in different positions. So when you add it all up, then 60 million starts to look a little bit more expensive.
So then what do you prioritize?
Well, you have to prioritize the 10s because that's where we're lacking. I think we can get away with. I'm just being hypothetical here. I'm not saying this is what we should do, but let's just say, hypothetically speaking, we didn't have enough money. I think we can get away with the midfield, and we can get away with the defense. We cannot get away with with not having any attackers, because that's the thing about this Amorim system. Like, if we don't, we've missed so many chances, created so many chances. If we don't take them, and then the goal comes against us, that's when the game changes. Goals change games. The momentum switches. All of a sudden, it's a terrible game where we could have wrapped up Lyon. It could have been 4-0 first leg. Second leg, it could have been 4 as well. Just missing chances because we're lacking the quality in those positions up front. And we need to get the wing backs and the 10s. That's the most important positions right now, for now. And I think that's the one you don't kind of compromise on. I know people are going to be complaining about, like, the goalkeeper and the striker, but then it's priorities. And I think if we get the 10s, I think that's a really, really important position. So, I wouldn't mind us spending a decent amount of money on that, but it's just there's lots of positions to fill in this team for us to be able to move forward. And
it feels like the priorities have shifted, though, slightly, doesn't it? From like the start of the season to where we're at now. I feel like the 10, striker and goalkeeper are the most important positions for me, because I think going into next season, with the wing backs, Amas and Dorgu look like they might be able to compete on that side. I thought Amas had a really good game against Wolves, and we'll dive into that in a moment. Ahmad can play wing back on the right hand side. I know Dalot's not ideal, but he can still do half a job there. He's not been terrible of late. I would still improve on that position 100%. But what do you need more? Dalot, who's playing average 6 out of 10, or like a striker who isn't scoring? Goals win your games. Excuse me. Goals win your games.
Yeah, we need strikers.
Yeah. 100%. Andy's saying swap Garnacho with Cunha and the team instantly gets better. And I think that's just a product of the system, though, when it's not saying Garnacho's a bad player. It's just where he's receiving the ball on the pitch. Like, he's just so much more comfortable out on the wing, innit? Being more direct.
Yeah, and you and I have spoken about this a few times now. And it's like with players like Garnacho and Højlund, it's not like they're terrible players. It's just like the system is just way above. It's kind of like a step too high for them to be able to grasp all at once. And if Garnacho goes somewhere else, he would absolutely kill it.
Yeah.
kill it. Him and Hoyland, if they went anywhere else, like that, just play direct football, because Garnacho is just a direct player. He's one of them players you can't coach it out of him. He's going to be who he is for the rest of the season. He's going to go cutting on the left and take a shot, or if he can't, he'll square it. That's it. There's nothing more. And he does it really well. There's players like that who've done it their entire lives. Like that's what they do, and there's nothing more that they can offer. And I think that's just it with Garnacho. But if you, like Andy said, if you swap positions with a player like Cunha, who can bring players in, who's good in the tight space, oh man, honestly, we improve immediately.
I look at the Wolves game, and we can just kind of segue into this at the moment, because I did want to discuss it, because there was a few things that I kind of picked out from that game, and it was instantly, straight off the bat, that chance that Rasmus Højlund had, where it was squared across the box. I'm looking at that, it might be harsh, people say, but whatever they want. I think his positioning can be way better. I think an absolute killer, a number 9 in that area, just tucks it away. And then the game's different, because you've been all over Wolves. You've been the better team, really. You've created more chances, had more shots on target. You score that goal. The emphasis on them to then attack more. Then you leave more space open. And then you probably go win the game 2 or 3-0 with a killer striker. Yeah. That's the fine margins in football, what a lot of people don't realise.
Yeah, I agree 100%. And I know a lot of people are going to pick up on that chant. But there's other chances that Dogu, I noticed this happened twice, and it looked like it was straight from the training ground, where there was a corner that came in, and Dogu and Amas got on the right-hand side, floating balls in. Do you remember that? It happened twice.
Yeah.
And
from a corner, was it? Was it off a corner?
From a corner, yeah. It always kind of happened, that when and then both of them were in those positions, and I think that was straight from the training ground, where you had 2 left-footed players who could float the ball in. From the right-hand side. And Dogu put in 2 pitch-perfect balls in. And if we had a Cavani, if we had a Van Nistelrooy, I've seen people, and it was perfect. All the defenders missed it. And then if he had a
glance, didn't it? Just a glance. And you said Cavani, sorry, very quickly, you said Cavani there. Remember the Southampton goal where Cavani reacted to it? He scored 2 against it, but there was one specific one where I think it was Bruno shot. And he got his head onto it.
Just
instinct.
Simple. Yeah, it's the poacher's instinct. That's it. That's all you need, And for a team like United, we need that kind of player with that kind of caliber. Your Osimhen, your natural goal scorers who can instantly just snap at those things, and that's it. Game is changed. Like Wolves have nothing else to come back from. And it's just fine margins like that, and then, we miss those chances, not to talk of the chances that Amas was creating from I know we'll talk about that, but there was quite a few crosses that were floated in, beautiful crosses that were floated in from Amas, and there was just no one there. Højlund wasn't there to take the advantage of that, and this is how we suffer, because we miss chances, and then Wolves get a free kick, goal, 1-0. The narrative has changed completely. United are going to finish 17th. Amorim has lost, blah, blah, blah. All the records start to come out because we didn't take simple chances. It's that easy. This is how football is now.
The one thing I've realised, I think, over the past year, or it's almost like an epiphany kind of moment, is how did he ever trust Ten Hag's vision on talent? Because Ten Hag didn't rate Amas at all from everything that we read. He said he weren't ready or whatever. And sometimes players can develop into that, and it's not always his problem. But he never brought on Ahmad either. He was playing Forson and Nancy and guys like that over him. All these young players that have almost been overlooked a little bit, potentially by a coach, who are now starting to come into the team. That's what I wanted to ask about, the performance of Amas and Fredriksson. Fredriksson surprised me, by the way, because I was like, one, I've never heard of this kid, and maybe that's on me. Maybe I should do more, but I'm sure a lot of lads in the chat were saying, never heard of him.
Do you remember that? I think it was Shreyas who put it in the chat, and then you and I went, who?
Yeah.
I'd never heard of him.
Never ever heard of him. I looked at his height. He looked quite young and experienced, and I was like, I'm not sure about this kid at all. And you watch his performance against Wolves, and you're like, one of the better centre-backs. You would have thought he was the most experienced one. It was crazy. And despite his height, he kind of held his own as well, didn't
he? He held his own. And it was for him and Hamas. Like, for me, what I was most impressed with was just the decision-making at that age is very, very important.
Yeah.
Like, when you come in and you step up, and it's not just about, you're not nervous.
Yeah.
you're very judicial with the ball. You know when to pass it, when to hold on to it for like a cameo. He's not trying to waste. He's not overplaying it safe. He's stepping up. He's measured. The amount of times when he stepped up, you could sense the danger. There was like a beautiful interception he made. Both of them as well. And it's just for me. That's what impresses me the most. It's not, just coming in and trying to bust the gut and get the crowd riled up. You know when Hannibal came up and
I knew he was going to say
everyone.
that. Yeah, and he's like, you're losing to Burnley 1-0, exactly. And he's like, come on.
Mate, that's not it, man. Like, come and just show that just show that you fit in and you can hang with the boys. That's it. Now, so I was super impressed. But then the point you made about Ten Hag, like it's a tough one. Like I'll let him slide about Hamas because we saw him in pre-season and he looked really good going forward. But defensively, he kind of looked unreliable then. And what I'm really happy about is that we didn't send him out on loan. Like sometimes it's good to keep the players in train with the first team. Even if it takes it like a whole season, just train with the first team and kind of get it on. But yeah, he has to take some flack, especially for the Ahmad one. But yeah, I mean it's good now that they're getting chances, to step up to the first team.
I think he was going to send him to Leicester, so I'm not sure if that would have been necessarily the best fucking loan for him. Yeah, because you look how much they're getting piped at the minute. Like they're conceding 3-4 for confidence. It was just absolutely destroyed him. And I also think the wing back thing obviously helps, doesn't it? Because if you're playing in the back four in comparison to back, it's just a world of difference. You got so much more security bombing forward and doing what he's good at, which is actually putting crosses into the box. Like he's an elite crosser, Amas. You can see that. His technical ability on the ball is really, really good. And the one thing that a lot of people were humming and ahhing about was his strength and 1v1 situations at times. But I can't remember who the player was on the right-hand side, Semedo sometimes, and people were dragging out there. But he did a pretty good job on him. There was loads of 1v1 situations where he held his own, I thought.
I was impressed. There was two situations in particular that I remember, and I was really impressed because I was kind of apprehensive about him in defense. I was good to see him start, but then I was just like, oh, that left-hand side, you've got Semedo and Cunha.
Yeah.
And then against Amas and Fredrickson, so I was kind of a little bit worried. But now I was really impressed, man. He really stepped up. He's obviously training with the first team has helped. I think there's a little bit more bite to his defensive sort of to his defensive game. There has been an improvement there from the last time we saw him in pre-season. And there's a little bit more awareness with him. Because remember in pre-season, he was always trying to bomb forward. He was always trying to do the...
Naive.
He was naive, just wanted to come on. But now it's just so much more matured. And one thing I also noticed is that he's a lot better with the ball than Garnacho. And what I mean by that is in terms of knowing when to go, when to pull back, when to release the ball. He was so much. There were times when he was, is that Hamas? Like I was, when he was doing certain things, I was like, oh, is that him? So yeah, I mean, it's great to see, man.
Yeah, them two in a game like that, it's good to see him stand out. That was like the only kind of positive from the game, really, because I know it was an expected result. A lot of us was like, probably going to draw this game or lose it, like given, even Amorim was kind of saying all the eggs in the Europa League basket, but back-to-back defeats to a team who was fighting relegation for majority of the season, and we didn't even score a goal against them in those two fixtures. Like, they beat us 2 or 3-0, I think, in December, and they beat us 1-0 last night. They can't get a goal. Like, that's just unacceptable for me. I know you've mentioned before that, Europa League, I'm not really bothered about Prem, but even that on a scale is like embarrassing, isn't it? Really.
Just don't lose.
Yeah, if you would have drew the game, it's like, right, it is what it is. But I was, unhappy by the end of the game because I felt like it just goes to show how much. I know we emphasised it at the start of the show, but we need a goal scorer so bad. So bad.
Honestly. And it's to be fair, like I've been very critical of Amorim like a lot of times, but then it was one of those games where we just didn't take our chances. Like I can't put that on the manager. That one, I can't put that on him. Like there were chances created, we just didn't have the players to do it. Like
it was like the Leon game. The Leon game away the manager, you got a perfect away performance there, but because you got a goalkeeper who chucks it in the back of the fucking net, what are you supposed to do?
Yeah, you've got a goalkeeper who does that, and then you've got players who just can't finish their meals up front. So yeah, it's not. Yeah, you can't put that on him. Even though I have my little grievances, but sometimes you just have to give credit where credit is due, and you have to just look at, some people just have to take responsibility for certain things.
Do you think there's ever been so much pressure to win a single tournament for the future of the club in a sense? Like, there's so much riding on that Europa League now, isn't there?
No, it's never been this bad. I don't remember it ever been this bad.
I know Mourinho did it to a certain extent.
Yeah, but when Jose did it was 6, right? And then it was like we still had there was still money. It was one of those ones where, yeah, okay, we'll miss Champions League, but then we can still challenge for it next season with Jose. If we miss it now, like this is now we can't challenge with our rivals. We've got City, we've got Liverpool, we've got Arsenal. Those are like our main rivals. We can't challenge with them. We're challenging now. We have to overcome the Villas. We have to overcome Newcastles. We have to
Brentford, Brighton, Fulham.
Brentford, right? This is so we can't afford to slip anymore. Like we need Champions League, not just for the status, for the money to attract players, and just for the mindset, just to keep. We have to stay relevant, because if we don't do that, we come 16th or whatever, we're going to start losing money. Sponsors, things like it's a big thing. Like we need the brand has to. Like I was watching a clip from when Liverpool played Tottenham in the tunnel. The little mascots, the kids, the Spurs mascots. Van Dijk is walking in and they're all screaming, "Oh, Van Dijk, come here, come to." Times are changing. Like years ago, like maybe I don't know, like 15 years ago,
Rooney,
kids aren't doing that.
Ronaldo.
Yeah, it's Rooney, it's Ronaldo, it's the United. Yeah, but now we're so crap.
Yeah, no one's going.
So we're losing.
Lindelof.
Exactly. Exactly. So as a brand, we really don't need to be associated with some of these positions that we're in right now. As a brand to survive. So there's so much riding on this, and it's doable though. It's doable. It's really, we can actually do it. It's not unrealistic to hope that we win it, but yeah.
It's with me. It's the Bilbao game is the most. Well, I say it's the most difficult, but I think if we get Spurs in the final, I'm a bit like. But Bilbao, they are. I think they've lost less games than Madrid and Barca this season.
They have.
They are.
They have the best. They have the best record. They have the best defensive record.
Yeah.
What worries me about them is Valverde. It's the manager.
Experience.
This is what worries me. I know there's reports that Nico Williams might not play, who's a very dangerous player, but Valverde is just one of those, Spanish guys, like Spanish managers. They just have this. Look at the manager of the national team. Came out of nowhere. Came out of nowhere and just laid down a plan, and they literally just beat the fuck out of everyone. Like, he's that kind of manager that takes, like Bilbao, it's not like they can't transfer, they can't play anyone who's not from the Basque region. So their transfers are limited. They can't do business outside of that region, basically.
Yeah.
So everybody they have is homegrown. So everybody has this, has the style of play to a T.
Yeah. So
one of the biggest problems that we've had is when we come up against an organized team that knows exactly how they want to play, mate, we can't go toe to toe.
It's interesting to see that, isn't it? In a modern day, what Bilbao are doing.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy, but they still do it till now. Like, that's just the way they operate. Like, they're just a Basque team, and they have a style of play, and this is what they do, and they can play it in their sleep. And Valverde is that type of manager that can just get the best. Like, he would frustrate the life out of us. I can see. I don't want to put this into the universe, but I can see like a 1-0 away, 1-0 at home kind of thing. They won't outplay us. They won't smash us. It won't be like a pass. It would just be one of those 1-0 with they'll get a goal and just give us nothing.
Yeah,
give us nothing.
I agree.
So,
I think there's such high competition with. I'd probably say Spanish and Portuguese managers at the minute, you look at what they're doing even in Europe. Like Emery with Villa was super impressive. Arteta's in a semi-final now, obviously Spanish. Pep has done incredible things. Like there's so much depth there. Nuno with Nottingham Forest, like the Iarola with Bournemouth. Like there's so many examples out there that when it comes to like tacticians on the pitch who get results when it matters, they do it. And that's the one reason why I'm worried, because I just think experienced manager, players capable 1v1. Team who know exactly what their identity is and how to play it, and a team who are defensively solid against this United team.
Who's the direct opposite of everything you just said? Like we're
we're confusing, chaotic, unreliable. Mentally break us within minutes of scoring a goal. I think that's a really tough ask. That if they do get past that, I think that's when I'll start believing. But I think that's a tough ask. The semis.
That's a tough. It's a really tough one. Just one more thing about Spanish managers and the Spanish teams is, as a people, like Spanish and Latin people, they're very, very passionate. But one thing I'm really impressed with them is, in some situations, not all the time, they're able to separate themselves from that passion and just be in flow state. So like how the Spanish team did, like you could tell, like with like the Portuguese or the Brazilians, there's a lot of passion in the game. You can see that you can see the emotions come out in the game. But the Spanish, especially in this last, was it the World Cup or the Euros? Was it that they just played? The Euros, they were literally just in flow. Like when they lost Rodri and Supermendi came in the final, he was just, there was no panic. No panic, nothing. They just have this ability to separate themselves from the situation and just play ball. And this is what's scary about them. And they're the kind of, and the reason why that scares me is when we play at Bilbao, I won't see them trying to score a goal, let's go for another one. They're the kind of, they could just literally just lock it up and then just be professional about it. And that's really scary.
I think there's a reason why Madrid have won so many Champions Leagues. Why Sevilla? I mean, they won it 4 times in a row, was it? I think. The Europa League, like
three times.
There's a reason why Spanish teams are so successful in these competitions, is because tactically they're just, I think, another level above a lot of other coaches, just in my opinion. But the tournament, coming back to it as a whole, winning it for us, then allows us to bring in the kind of players like Victor Osimhen, who I wanted to get onto. I should call you Shreyas again then. I wanted to get onto so many reports coming out of Turkey, and I don't know where this is coming from. We spoke about it a little bit in the group chat. There is 5, 6, 7 journalists coming out of Turkey saying that United have reached an agreement in principle with Osimhen, which would really surprise me, because that's conflicting with what Laurie Whitwell's saying about Liam Delap, which seems more likely given his price and Premier League proven and all that kind of jazz. And then the Cunha story as well. Like, can you ever see a world where United are signing Osimhen and Cunha?
I can see it, yes, because I feel like wearing my glasses to confuse you, so you think I'm sure. Yeah, but my eyes are hurting now. No, I can see that. I can see us doing it, because if anything we know about Ineos is ambition. Like, if there's one thing I know, that they're really ambitious, and I could see them pull in, especially if we manage to sell like Rashford, sell Anthony, we sell Garnacho, maybe. I can definitely see a situation where we can work out a deal for Osimhen, because it's becoming glaringly obvious that we need a top striker, like someone to finish off. As much as I like Xerxes, I don't think he's as reliable. He's not a natural goal scorer like your Crespos or your. Sorry, I'm not even going to go to Crespo, like your Osimhen's and your Lewandowski's, like the ones in the game now. Osimhen is just attracts goals. He's just and Xerxes probably doesn't have the profile to give us that number 9, that focal point just here. He's brilliant as a 10, but I think if you want like a poacher, and I think that's what Ineos would want, and I can see the ambition leading them there. Like Jim Ratcliffe, like he's not someone to just sit by the sidelines. Like, he's a crazy billionaire. I know he likes to come across as measured, but he's very, very competitive.
You could tell the depth behind it in a lot of the stories.
He's competitive.
Pushing it. Yeah.
Yeah, he's one of them ones where he's like, get me the best. Like, I want the best sort of thing. So I can see it happening. I'm not saying the rumors are true, but I wouldn't be surprised if we actually go for him. The other thing I'm a bit worried about the rumors is no one else has kind of verified that. And there's only, I don't know if it's like, I know Osimhen likes United, and I don't know if it's like it's agent driven or
potentially.
Yeah, one of them ones where it's just the agent just feeling out for stuff.
Because what else is a Turkish journalist supposed to do if they get information from Osimhen's agent that he's close to joining United? That
They're
then
going to report it.
he's putting that out there for an alternative reason, right? To put it out there to attracting. That's an agent's job to do that. So by doing that, by me talking about that situation right now, is doing that. You know what I mean? And other channels or whatever speaking about it. So generates interest is what they're trying to do.
Mm-hmm.
It could well be that. But this isn't a transfer news show, and we discussed the transfer news. We've also had, well, it kind of correlates with what's going on. Samuel Luckhurst from the MEN put out before as well that United intend to sign a goalkeeper and a striker in what's shaping up to be a drastic summer transfer window at the club. On the goalkeeper front, just quickly, can you see that changing? Or do you still think Onana will be in charge? Jesus. Imagine if he was in charge in next season.
I can see it. And the only reason why I can see it is because at the back of my mind, I kind of think that we're going to see a lot of changes as far as players, like deals. Like we're going to have quite a few players leaving. And I think we'll be able to generate some funds for like a new goalkeeper. At the moment now, we don't need a world-beating goalkeeper. We just need a decent goalkeeper who doesn't make mistakes. At the very least, right? Just don't make mistakes and be able to,
that's an improvement.
Have good reflexes.
Yeah.
Finish. That's it. Because you don't even need to be able to pass because the guy who's supposed to be the pro at passing or long balls can't even do that. So just be a decent guy, regular guy. As long as you don't make mistakes, we're good for now. And then in the next year or two, we can go for like Unai Simon or something. We can go and get some fancy goalkeeper. We just need a decent one now, honestly.
I think
so I can see that.
When they have the meeting with the player or whatever, I think what they should do is just like a random wild card, just throw something at him, and if he catches it first time, then sign him and say, yeah, you know what I mean? Like if you don't make a mistake and drop whatever it is, you're our guy. Come in, you can be our number one goalkeeper. But the thing that worries me is the amount of investment that will go into that keeper, because we were talking about splitting the budget before and how much is going to be available. I don't think they're going to go and buy an All Black, let's say, just for an example, and spend 30, 40, 50. I don't think they're going to do that. I think they'll look to box clever and go buy 10, 15 million pound, which is I'm not mad at, because keepers have come through before who have been that price and done extremely well. But there's so much pressure going on that role now because of how the goalkeeping positions have gone for the past decade or whatever. There's huge pressure now on a new goalkeeper coming in. And there's also huge pressure in the summer to get it right. If they fuck up this window now, I mean, might as well call it a day.
We can't come back from like this next window is probably one of the most important. I know we say this every time, but this...
No, I think it is
it's the most important window.
Yeah.
This one that we're going into now. And we can't afford to fuck it up. Thank God we don't have Morton, Arnold, and all these other people who know nothing about football. And I'm not saying everything these guys do is correct, but at least it's just a little bit. We know that there's
a thought process behind it.
Exactly. There's a structure behind the decisions that will be made. So hopefully we can hope that they box clever. Just back to the Ten Hag thing about talent, like Over.
Yeah, that was mad, wasn't it? I didn't understand that at all.
He could have, it's one of them ones. And then now, we could have maybe put a deal to get him back for 15 million euros or so. Just something, put a deal in to buy him back, a buyback clause, get it back for 10 mil or 12 mil or something. And then that could be like a stopgap for like a year before we find someone else. Well, yeah, it's mad, isn't it? Like,
I think they're going to go in for someone. I've mentioned this in the chat as well, for someone like a Zion Suzuki. I think that's who they're going to go for. Like, it might not be him specifically, but that kind of age where it looks like the next goalkeeper to be, super, super talented, 10, 15 million. I think that's what they're going to end up doing. I do not see it.
You can't say this, but I can, man. I don't want to blast.
I definitely can't say that. 100% can't say that. You can.
I'll say that on your behalf and everyone else. Which is, mate, I don't want a black goalkeeper, please. Right? Even the ones that are good, it's just there's something like.
What is it though?
Just a little. I don't know. Like, what's his name? The AC Milan guy. He's really good. The French guy. Maignan, yeah, he's really good. But you could just tell that he just has that, there's a little loose screw there.
Would you say Dida had that as well?
Dida had it, like, some of the goalkeepers that played for Nigeria as well. Like, we have some really good goalkeepers, but then they would just have this bipolar thing. They just have like a bozo gene, right? I don't know what it is, man. They're weird. They're like really, really weird. Back keepers are just there's something about it.
Yeah, I don't think that's going to be in the scouting notes, but yeah,
probably not. But yeah,
probably not.
Like, yeah,
we'll have to wait and see, won't we? See what happens with that goalkeeper situation. The summer's so fascinating, man. To see who we're going to buy. I'm just going to end with some of the comments. So if there is anyone in the chat who's watching, first and foremost, please do smash that like button and subscribe to the channel. We are closer and closer to 15k now, 14,019 subs at the minute, so that's incredible. If there is anyone new who has enjoyed the show and listening to me, myself, and Civir, then please do subscribe and drop us a follow on socials as well for all your news updates. But yeah, comment section. UTFR, Delap reminds me of a young Shearer. He bullies centre-backs, and I love that. Cunha's mint. I'd love to see a Brazilian light up Old Trafford. Yeah, when was the last Brazilian that we had that was like really good? Yeah, Anderson,
yeah.
It's weird with me with Anderson because when we obviously won in Moscow around that time period, I was around 12 years old, so I didn't really have an appreciation for football like I do now. Do you know what I mean? So I can't really remember how actually good. I remember watching him play, but I couldn't give you like an analysis of him. Do you know what I mean?
Oh man, he was the last one. He was the last real Brazilian for us that really. I mean, he wasn't like skillful or anything, like he wasn't crazy. He was just the best for me.
Yeah.
In a long time. Yeah. 100%. Then that title winning season as well. With him, it was weird. Him and Cleverly. Yeah, Anderson and Tom Cleverly as a double play. It was mad. But then they just had this chemistry. Like, it was crazy. And
Chuck Darren Fletcher in there as well. There's a bit of a mad mix of centre midfielders, isn't it? Danny's saying massively disagree. Amas should have been loaned, I think he was saying, playing men's football this season. I've got men's games under his belt, ready to join first team next season. I know what you're saying, but I was more being specific on Leicester, going out on loan to Leicester, because I feel like how bad they've been defensively at the minute, I think it could have ruined his confidence. Had you sent him out somewhere else, like look at Ahmad, for example, when he went to Rangers, nothing.
Thank you.
Goes to Sunderland.
It happened twice. Didn't he go to two different? He went to Rangers first.
And then Sunderland, and killed it at Sunderland. It's just it all depends on where the team are, how they're playing, what the tactics are. Like a lot of it is based on that. You can almost ruin a player a little bit by sending them out on loan to the wrong place. So that's all my original point was. Ten Hag is a massive reason why we're in this position. We need to send players out on loan sooner, training with the first team or under 21s, under 18s. Not better than loaning and playing first team football at the right clubs if we aren't going to play them. Amas asked to stay in January as he was told he was in Amorim's plans. And United, I want Osimhen, Anthony, Robertson, Edison. That's too long of a transfer list for me. I don't know where you're going to get all that money from, but that's a very expensive list. There was other names on that as well. Robinson, I think they meant, from Fulham, the left back.
All right, okay.
Yeah, who I'm a fan of. But anyway, look, we've got through quite a bit. There was another story on a young player who Ineos are taking a look at as well, another young star, I think coming out of France. His name's Enzo Kana-Biyik, and he's a free agent in a minute, so United are looking at that. But obviously no one's going to know who a 16-year-old player is. But it's nice to see Ineos, bringing in these youthful players and looking towards the future and not just looking at the immediate future, which United used to do in the past. So, yeah, appreciate every single one of you who were tuning in. I had quite a few of you, which is really nice to see. Like I touched on before, subscribe to the channel. This has been me and Civir with your transfer news show. Matheus Cunha could be on his way to Manchester United. Let's see.